Welcome back to the LCS Challengers for the last time as we're getting ready for our final game of the day. We do have a little, not ever, just for this week, Joshi. We'll come back next week. But we do have a little bit of fun lined up to try and spruce some entertainment while we're waiting on our second game here. So I have gotten myself together some very fine painting skills. And I have decided, in the theme of things, since we are LCS Challengers, that art is also challenging. And I'm going to try my best to challenge it. Yeah, you see? Exactly. Because art is very challenging. And I'll be able to represent that here in a few minutes. So I've picked a couple themes, 2 of them to be specific, from this last game. And I've drawn 3 separate pictures for each theme, varying in quality. Okay. But I will go ahead and walk you guys through this story. We can talk about each photo, what it means, and then hopefully at the end you guys kind of get where I was going with them. So we're gonna start it off. We're gonna go switch. What do you got, Joshi?
It's like a walk through the Louvre, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Except challenging.
And we're not walking. We're standing still.
We're not walking.
We can do the on.
So here is my first photo.
Definitely not like walking through the Louvre.
Why not? That sounds awesome.
I'm saying this isn't.
I mean, hey, you never know. Does the Louvre have swords? I hope you can recognize that those are swords. But this is my first drawing, so I hope you can appreciate.
I thought they were giant sticks,
that went into
to be honest.
Well, they have handles. The stick is on the left side of the screen. Okay.
Hey, wait, can we go back full screen it real quick, Jay?
Yeah.
I want to point out something about the sword on the left that Amenis is holding. He's holding it by the blade.
Yes, he is. That's how off the rails he is. He's just crazy. Right, and he, you know, get away from the artistic. See, I said it was challenging. All right, I said it was challenging. Please don't hurt me, my feelings. What happened to this photo? What is this photo representative of?
The gank mid by Wukong.
Oh my goodness!
Oh
right on the money. God. Couldn't believe it. Do you like my Kali?
First blood, yeah.
Kali looks cool, right? Yeah.
I honestly
I gave
where's
her
the Kali? Wait, where's the Kali? I didn't even
in
notice.
the shroud. What? I tried to give her a ponytail. I thought it looked like a shuriken.
I can't see it here.
Oh no. Okay, hold on. Let's see if I can zoom.
Can you drag it around? Can you give us the animation? There you go.
Oh, well, I thought that was a turret.
That is not a turret. No.
Hiya.
That is not a turret. Thank you. I'll be here all week. So. Perfect. Moving on to the next part of the story, right? All right.
Okay.
What is this? What could this possibly?
Why can't we be friends?
Why can't
world
we
peace?
Be friends? Is that what
world peace?
What does it say?
Let's go, team.
Definitely world peace. Definitely world peace.
World peace. That's what that is in the middle, right there, right?
Yeah, it's a representation.
Definitely
of it.
Not some sort of energy being.
Is this the power of friendship? Is that all you're trying to do?
Yeah, it might be. It might be.
Spirit bomb or something like that?
I mean, those hands are really detailed. The hands are really detailed. I hope you can understand.
I thought those were flippers.
No, they're. Maybe they are.
Maybe they are. I mean, there was a. No, Nami was on the other side. There was a Nami.
And, you know, that we'll get to that a little bit later. All right,
at least none of them are holding the blade.
We're gonna move on.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Yeah, the blade that's the key kicker to the theme here. All right, third one here. So this happens. All right, this happens sometimes, but it's about what you gain from those situations. All right, and the positive attitude.
Is this like one of those pictures? Like, what was that movie? Is it the Stranger Things where you see the giant beast in the background? It's just going.
pretty much.
Why does Cloud9 have 4 legs?
With a little bit of the Call of Duty meme. What?
Why does Cloud9 have 4 legs?
They don't. That's 2 thick legs. It's a big person.
I honestly thought it was 4 legs too, and that's what made me think of like a giant beast in the background going.
You know, I didn't think that part. You know, the timing at the end, it kind of took off in quality. All right, you can only get as much effort
Trust me, I understand.
by the artist is able to do. So what could be the theme here? You know, there was a lot of positive moments. There was the second picture. If you want to go back real quick and show off a little bit of the whatever that is developing in there in the middle. And I mean the first one's go back just because the artistic skill. That
I'm just gonna go with the last one where it's just you see a giant gargantuan Godzilla-like monster in the horizon, and you say, you know what? Maybe it's a good time to go into the bunker.
Josie,
I think
You
I know.
might
what
have
the
said
theme
it
is.
earlier.
It's a Cloud9 versus FlyQuest game 1, probably.
Yes. It is the power of friendship. Damn it. It was supposed to be the power of friendship, and then things got really one-sided. So I was like, they'll be positive. They'll go get him next time. All right, that's the power of friendship, right?
I mean, Cloud9 seemed like
Monster,
very
get
good
in the
friends
bunker.
in that game. That's all I gotta say.
All
very
right,
good friends.
There you go, exactly. And hey, maybe they come back in game number 2. Now we're gonna move on to the next team. This one took a little bit of a deep end. My drawing skills definitely got a lot better because I didn't draw as much. But this first one, pure artistic talent. You ready for it? This is another theme we got going on today. Pure artistic talent. Beauty of the eye should go in the Louvre.
I do like the sushi. Sushi, the spider. The spider's really good too.
The spider's
I
I
hope
thought
that's
Lulu
Siri.
was the perfect one. I thought that one was the best.
Oh, wait, let's go back. I can't see it from here.
Wait, you can't see it? Hold on. Oh, okay.
There you go. You got the big purple hat.
Does that taste purple?
It does taste purple.
I love how Lucian's
There we
only
go.
identifying characteristics are that he has guns.
I mean, Zeri's isn't much better.
Do you
It's a
need
zap.
more than that? Like, I'm pretty
It's like
sure
it's
that's
like
all
going
you
to the beach and finding something that a piece of driftwood that kind of looks like a gun, and suddenly you're you're part of Spec Ops, and that's exactly what it looks like to me. But is this supposed to be when Nami just dies?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Also, I realized the Ultra Shock laser, if you draw it like this, looks a lot like Final Spark, but I would put it shorter, so I was like, oh, maybe that means that it's the Ultra Shock laser. But
Yeah, that's definitely what I thought it was.
yeah, for sure. Easy. Say what I tell you. Piece of art. It gets more simple from there. My artistry went up through the roof again because I stopped drawing stuff. So this is what happened next.
Arachnophobia.
Oh, you're
There's
so
spiders
good.
everywhere. Look at the drawing of that.
Arachnophobia.
It's great,
Definitely
right?
arachnophobia.
Dang.
Look at the lines.
Seen the
The
movie.
lines
I'm
in between
impressed.
the things that I did not draw. Those are really good.
I'm impressed that you took the time to give that much detail to each individual spider.
Yeah,
I knew you were already.
Wait, that's
decent
where
at
I said I
painting.
stopped drawing. I will not take him
I'm
credit for
giving you
this. What I
credit.
want
I'm
to
giving you
focus on
credit.
is the lines. The lines you see. All right. No,
So
but-
wait, are you telling us that you're using AI art?
We have
no?
to cancel you.
I don't know what you're talking about. You can't prove anything. Anyways, what is the thing? What is going on here?
You said it was spiders
Arachnophobia.
everywhere.
All right.
Arachnophobia.
Well, who?
Who else is a spider?
It was Tomio. There.
Yes.
I needed his name. All right, we're gonna move on to the last one. We're getting really close here. So this is what happened at the end because the spider
Dude,
went
he's so
to the
good.
bank and came away with so much money. It was ridiculous. You see, graphic design is my passion, just like you, Joe.
Oh, there you go.
You did a really good job in drawing the coins.
No, I didn't. I'm not
Yeah.
taking credit for this.
Yeah, a really good job. At
You
that.
even got the
so-
gradient mixing your
I
different
know,
paints
isn't that
over the
really
Cloud9
impressive?
logo. Like,
What could
honestly,
possibly be the theme here? I mean, like, what, like, going through this? First of all, starting off with an absolute banger of an artist piece, and then moving on to like what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
What's the theme?
Cloud9 being Scrooge McDuck, just having piles of
There
money
we
to
go.
swimming in.
It was Tomio being Scrooge McDuck for his team. I don't know, something along those lines. We're just gonna take this
Tomio,
off
don't
now.
you just mean everybody?
Well, Tomio ended up like 8-0 or something. I don't know, something crazy like that. Like it was actually ridiculous.
all
I think
had
he
a
actually
lot of
died
money.
at the end.
Now,
there, but,
I thought you were telling our lovely producer Emily that she was going to have to contribute some.
she
to this.
got busy. So that's what happens when you're helping run a broadcast. That's kind of what happens.
Weird.
We're going to our last game though. Getting ready to go. We've gone way over time, but we had a lot of fun. So hopefully
Way
the
over
last
time.
game
I
will
feel
be
like-
just that.
I feel like this whole day has been overtime.
You know what? That's perfectly fine. We're gonna have fun with the last game though, guys. Take it away.
Yeah, we will. It's gonna be good. I'm glad to cast some League of Legends. We'll talk to Lennon after the game, but we got to get through this one. Cloud9 Challengers, the only remaining team to only have a single solitary loss. FlyQuest Challengers, this is their time to even up the score, tie it at 1 apiece. I'm not exactly certain of all the results on the other stream, on the Path to LCS stream, but if they can tie it up here, that's 1 apiece for every game we've had this day.
Yeah, and welcome to everybody coming over from the Path to LCS stream. If you're just tuning in, Cloud9 Challengers collapsed FlyQuest Challengers in the previous one, and so now they're going to try and bounce back, and FlyQuest choosing to stick on the red side. They gave Philip 2 bans last game in order to try and protect the Jax on their 3rd pick, and unfortunately it did not quite work out, as there are too many things that Jax kind of struggles into, and FlyQuest definitely seemed to have Philip's number.
And looking at the bans at the moment, nothing has changed between the games. I actually expected to see a little bit more adaptation, at least for FlyQuest, when we see that power, they'll at least pick first. Very surprising to have seen that. And then we actually see the first adaptation not from Fly, but from C9, banning instead of Fiora Kassadin.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting to see this ban coming out right now, right? I mean, there's no Shochi on the team, and Spyrex, you know, he's not never played Kassadin. It's not something that he's super known for. And the Elise ban actually going to be coming out for Cloud9, which means that, I mean, we were saying this before, Lost and Zeyzal were winning the Zarya plus Lulu lane into Masu and Keetong. Now they're the ones that are actually going to be having the Lucian as well.
I'm looking at that Heimerdinger. Still open for the bot lane of FlyQuest if they want to grab that. Maybe even get a Varus so they can have additional poke. Stay as far away from Lucian Nami as possible. Grabbing the cat instead. Zarya, obviously going to be the pick that they have right before the next part of ban, so it will be the Lucian Nami trade.
Yeah, not a big surprise there. We will see what it is that Tomio wants to take into the Sejuani. They have a lot of options, and oh my god, we're mixing it up. It's another Radiant Virtue jungler. Let's go. Going to be picked up for Cloud9.
Right.
So,
you know what? Instead of talking about all this stuff, you know, because what we're saying is standard. Why don't we talk about a little bit of the history of the players, right? Because something I'm really curious to delve into, too bad, I'm doing it anyways, is Philip versus Fake God. We didn't really get to set up this lane. Okay, that's interesting, but not that interesting. But Fake God versus Philip. Fake God was one of the original power stars that came out of the Scouting Ground circuit. In fact, him and the entirety of that Team Infernal when he played Scouting Grounds, I think in 2018, were all picked up by 100 Thieves Academy to play on the same roster. He was the original Wonder Kid from that. Philip came a couple of years after that, proving to people, and even you were talking and singing his praises for a long time.
Yeah.
So Fake God in this series is really trying to show not only that he has that motivation to get back into the game, but there's a reason why he was the original player everyone sang the praises of.
Yeah, I mean, Philip for me was also one of these players that I was looking at when I first saw him playing on Radiance, one of the teams that are in the semi-pro scene. I was very excited because on that team, it felt like he was the only one able to do anything, playing Renekton and coming up with these big leads. And since then, you know, Philip has had some bright moments, played in LCS, and in their very first game, you know, took Licorice and fought them to a standstill. They didn't necessarily contribute to the win because the FlyQuest bottom lane absolutely blew open that game, but still able to take some of these more storied players and actually be able to play against them. Now, Fake God was able to get the better of Philip in Game 1, and as we go into Game 2, yet again going for this hard split-pushing style that Philip has always loved. The Fiora, the Camille, the Jax, things that we've seen a ton from him over the years.
Plus, not having to deal with Renekton, something that Fake God likes to play, and even likes to play the Fiora. Cassante is one of those options that I'm not a big fan into the Fiora. I know a lot of people have been playing that. They've been opting into the matchup. It is a skill matchup. But I still will always favor Fiora, especially when you look at a player that is as skilled as Philip, that he can play around a lot of that knowledge. And this will kind of dictate whether or not Fake God respects that. If he says, yeah, I think that Philip does have a lot of those hands that I have to deal with that if I'm playing Cassante, or if I just want to go for something that I'm trying to even think what he would want to go for outside of Cassante that would be in that wheelhouse to kind of battle back. And I guess Jace is going to be the option.
Yeah, Jace has been a lane that you can play into the Fiora. It does start off a little bit tough, and Spyrex, I was initially thinking, it's like, hey, you might want to play Azira here because you have a lot of damage. It's a very classic Spyrex champion, and you are able to kind of outrange a lot of these different pieces, but instead, we're going to be hovering the Swain. We'll see if it gets locked in, and it's going to be another potential opportunity for Spyrex, as it is going to be the classic coming out from Spyrex. He is one of the players that popularized this in Academy in 2022, and we'll see if it actually succeeds here. It's not something that's been particularly popular, and I'm a little bit worried that it kind of gets shut down. There's a lot of tools on Cloud9 to influence where Spyrex is standing in some of these fights. You got the knockback from Jace, you have a small knockback from Tomio, and you can just sacrifice Tomio a little bit to just make sure Spyrex isn't able to run you down.
But the big thing is, I think, going to be the early game again between these two teams. Looking at what you want to do as FlyQuest, It's not like before where they had those elements kind of battle back and look good in the early game, maybe get the bot lane to work out. This time, it is purely around that mid-game team fight.
Yeah.
If you can get Yuumi on top of Spyrex on this Swain with the movement speed from Masu, you're difficult to kill. You don't need to worry about, like, spacing where you're going to position. You've got a cat on your back, and you're Swain. You're going to just heal from everything and dish out so much damage.
One of the things we do have to remember about Masu as well is at least last week they were playing on 150 ping, I believe it was. They were really struggling. I believe that is still the case where they were playing remotely. And so we can forgive them a little bit for some of the things that we have been seeing. It's very difficult to play up against a lot of these different tools when you just don't have the ability to react to them. You aren't able to just play the way that you're used to playing even on the solo queue ladder. And so this is transferring, again, a lot of pressure where Masu and Kitong had some of the carry potential last game on the Lucian Nami, putting it elsewhere. They're investing even heavier in the top side of the map. And so I'm looking at Philip taking control of the lane at level 1 and Yuji helping out the top side to make sure that they can cement a lead.
And I do like that for FlyQuest. And then for Golden Guardians, for Cloud9 Challengers, we look at this and it's, even if it's a lot of different pieces, in fact, all different pieces, it's the same identity.
Compared to last year?
Oh, compared to the last game.
Oh, yes, that's very true. You have a lot of focus on the top side of the map, making sure you don't kind of blow up, but they have a little bit more control later on in the game, just because you have some of the pick coming out from MNS, and you also have this Jace that will really become very terrifying at 3 items when you get that Serylda's Grudge online. And so, as we jump into it, not going to be having a whole lot of early interaction between these two teams, and so it is going to be a situation where Cloud9, they are very happy to just kind of take this game relatively standard. They have shown that they should feel comfortable just playing out these lanes and not need to do too much, and that gives Tomio a lot of freedom. We've seen players like Heavy be very, very good when their lanes are winning because he will maximize control of the neutral objectives. Tomio is the kind of player who, when all of his lanes are going well, is more likely to affect dives.
And on the other side, Yuji, that you had kind of highlighted before, and how he plays around the top half of the map. I'm curious to see how he can counteract Tomio in this early game, especially because we do expect a lot of these lanes to win for Cloud9. If Yuji can gain control onto Tomio, then what about MNS, who's another player that we wanted to see Yuji try to spend a lot of time putting behind so he can't get out of control?
Yeah, it's hard to prevent MNS from getting out of control. He's the kind of player who needs to outplay himself in a lot of ways, but Philip does have the wave now pushing towards him by taking aggro right off the bat. It does mean that the minions will be pushing towards Philip's side of the map, which is going to be a situation where with Yuji coming up top lane or doing this route up here, they could very quickly go for an early game.
Oh, looking bot lane. Level 1, exhaust cleanse. Or lost. Still a bit of damage onto Kitong. He has to go for the reattach at Sazel. Tries to poke out Masu as well. Bit of skirmishing. It's all about that level 2. If Lost Zazel can get that well in advance over Masu and Kitong, well, we know what's going to happen afterwards.
Yeah. The big thing there is using both the exhaust and the ignite allows Cleanse to double dip in terms of effectiveness. And so we will see if Masu and Kitong can stay alive in this upcoming lane, because the lane doesn't start off super bad, but it becomes bad later on. And so Masu and Kitong do need to be very careful with the fact that they have effectively only one summoner between the two of them.
Missing the never move. I mean, it's still playing far up. Yuji was looking for that early play, similar to how he did in game 1. Hasn't been able to find that angle, still waiting. Bot lane, the level 2 is getting a lot of damage onto Masu. Kitong as well has got to be very careful as that presses the... Oh no, not press the attack. The first strike damage is coming through.
Yeah, and he lost in Zazel in total control of this, and Yuji already moving towards the bottom side of the map, was hovering around the middle lane to make sure that Spyrex is safe, but look at that damage onto Masu. They just don't have enough mana.
Uh-oh, now Philip. Looks like he was in a world of hurt as mid lane. Gonna be a nice charm with the pull back in. Spyrex got an ignite on his head. Nice flash in from Tomio for first blood.
And there you go. Once you have these lanes actually winning, it's so easy. Here comes Yuji, though, on the bottom side.
Oh, but it's too late. Look at how low they are. There's no effective way to save the spot lane. 2 lanes in complete Cloud9 control.
Yeah, and Tomio is here as well. Masu and Ketong need to be very careful. You probably just have to back up after this wave because Lost and Zazel can just look for the dive. Masu and Ketong, this game is looking brutal. I remember a game when Unforgiven first came back. Their very first, or the second game, they were playing the Varus against AoE, and they pushed the opposing bottom lane completely off the wave almost immediately and had like a 50 CS lead. It looks like that.
Oh, Lost got baited there a little bit. He saw Ketong detach, but Ketong immediately retached. That's forcing Lost out of lane. You know, it's a minute detail, but it does help out Masu and Ketong at least somewhat.
I mean, look at where the wave is, though, Alex. The fact that the wave...
If that didn't happen at all, where would they be?
I mean, it's going to be really rough when they come back because the wave is closer to FlyQuest turret. When both waves impact, FlyQuest wave impacts first, meaning it starts doing damage, and this is a free setup for Lost and Zazel. I'm worried that this CS difference will continue to increase before it gets better.
At the moment, every single lane of Cloud9 challengers, full control over their opponents, even if the CS doesn't dictate that, the lane state does. Usually, it wants to find some angle, some path to help out one of these lanes. Bot lane, I think, is forfeit for a while. Mid lane, just look at that damage MNS did Spyrex. Just landing one charm, one Q. Impactful for quite a while.
They're looking top lane at a potential dive. Tomio is also hovering up there, completing the Grom, trying to make sure that a dive doesn't happen. We'll see if he reads it or moves to the bottom side. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Could be just fake God. Oversaying is welcome. Waiting for one more auto to gift gold over to Phil.
Yeah, sometimes you feel yourself, and sometimes Yuji walks into the room. There's not a whole lot that you can do, and now we're looking at 2v2 bot.
You really want to go for this fight, because that's going to be a nice exhaust cleanse away by Lost, but they got the damage. They can look for it. The flash in from Lost.
Let's go.
And he does it! Taking the kill off of Lost. He will die to the supportal combat, but you'll take that fight if you're Fly.
Wow, Cloud9. Oh, Zazel. Wow, that is so tough, because what can Ketong do to actually make sure this wave gets in? There's very little that a Yuumi can actually do in this situation, and look at that. Yes, they got the kill, and they put it onto Masu, but Zazel gets it right on back, and there's a freeze here that Masu's going to have to try and break, and Tomio making sure they can't.
Ketong can't do anything, like you said. It's going to be when Masu and Yuji both show up, and having now spotted out Tomio with the control ward placed down, Ketong's like, yeah, I need some support. I'm not lethality Yuumi. I need someone here to clear out the wave.
Yeah. But, I mean, credit where it's due. Masu and Ketong do get that 2v2, and now the wave not quite frozen because it does get all the way underneath the turret. So, Yuji coming down does at least allow them to crash, but look at that CS differential. Masu playing on high ping gets the kill, but it's not going to be enough.
It's not going to make up for how far behind you are in gold. The pickaxe compared to it not having one at all, you can see, granted, it's still early days, 7 minutes into the game, but being behind 500 gold this early on, it's going to be rough to imagine Masu finding a way to climb out unless you just pure farm until like 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and where's MNS going? Look at the fact that you already have Tomio doing the dragon because his bottom lane has so much control as well. Yuji on the top side of the map. So far, I mean, most of the opportunities that FlyQuest have gotten between both games have been when Cloud9 go a little bit too far. FlyQuest is punishing those, but this is a situation now where there's been too many small interactions that have gone in the way of Cloud9, and again, we should be expecting this because FlyQuest are playing with, with substitutes, and now Cloud9, they're just gonna dive the substitute.
It's level 4. Masu, he's got the spell shield, but he's level 4. They got a lot of damage onto MNS, and might actually take him down if they can get one more auto attack out of Ketong, but not enough. Healing up with the Triumph. Spyrex a bit late to the party. Now has to look 1v4. Popping the ult, looking for the Supernova, healing up the best he can, but he's got to be so careful against everybody. Then he's actually doing a lot of damage back and forth, pulling back in, nearly taking down MNS, looking for Zazel, but Zazel heals up with the ebb and flow.
And even with just bits of health back and forth, Cloud9 have enough damage to take down Spyrex. That's a third plate getting picked up off of this bottom lane turret. And look how many minions are going to be dying. You just getting something on the top side of the map. And the only place where we're seeing an advantage coming through for FlyQuest is once again Philip. It reminds me of the days when he was still on Radiance, but it's a tenuous advantage at best, and UG needs to cement it.
Looking for that dive onto Fake God. UG has ult that he can throw out. There's no flash onto Fake God. There's going to be the wombo combo to easily clean up the kill and give more gold to your split push solo lane.
Ooh, I would love to have seen the Rift Herald go down there, just give that much more gold over to Philip, but it is still going to be a second kill. They find one play off of it, so another half a kill effectively. Philip now going to be in a position where they can take control of this part of the map, and it gives them a glimmer of hope. But Lost and Zazel, they are still so far ahead on the other side. We'll see if the arms race can go in favor of FlyQuest.
Double the CS, calling popped immediately, having to get body blocked by K-Tong. Yeah, this is good. This is not looking too hot for Masu and K-Tong in the spot lane, despite having gotten that kill. Even mid lane, Sparks, he's fighting against M&S, but it is a 1-0 Ahri while he has died twice.
Yeah. We will see what FlyQuest can still do, right? They are effectively fighting like
they got Philip still. They got Philip.
But it's not as though this side lane is completely free unless UG keeps coming back, and uh-oh, there he is.
Just keep coming back. You said unless he keeps setting up the camp, and well, that's a killing spree.
That's a killing spree. Yet another one. Fake God has to be crying because he can't play this game right now. UG's constantly there. I wanted the Rift Herald before. They should drop it now. Give Philip all the gold. Put all the eggs in the Philip basket at this point. You need to find a way to hold on to this game.
I think that's what they're probably going to look for, getting a Demolish proc in the top lane. But TP into the bot lane from Spyrax, realizing there's a dive attempted by Tomio and M&S again. Getting a bit of damage with how low everything is. That's the Yumi on top of Spyrax. No, he decided to get off of him, so the Demonic Ascension not actually going to be as useful. But all the while, guess what happened top lane? That Rift Herald took down the structure. 4 members remain of Cloud9. They look to replicate this dive yet again. But it's going to be a lot more dicey, especially now that Spyrax is hanging around this entire time and Lost was split off.
Yeah, Lost not being able to move with the rest of the team. Fake God taking an ult but flashing away. This is what you need to do. FlyQuest have decided that they have a hero this game. His name is Philip. They're going to take another turret. That is so much gold coming into the top side of the map.
There's a gold lead for Fly too. They've taken that purely off of those plays. Like, I want to just see how much gold Philip has. Look at this. 2,000 over Fake God at the moment. And while that is kind of equated in the bot lane because Masu can't step up. Oh, wait.
That's both of them.
Oh, no.
That's both of them.
Oh, no. Well, you still got Philip.
You got Philip. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Philip, right? Because he is now playing against the world. This is a player who has had a lot of opportunity to kind of showcase what they can do. They played for Radiance for a little bit during the previous qualifiers of Spyrax, looking for a menace.
Getting the Spirit Dash away. So M&S will at least be fine, but trying to burn some of these summoners before they look to replicate the same play top lane again. Fake God, he's got to be like, come on, guys, leave me alone. What have I done to you? And it's played Renekton in game 1 and absolutely dumpstered the lane.
4-0 coming in for Philip, and notice he's gone with a Stride Breaker build. He's not necessarily trying to play into the relatively few melee champions that Cloud9 have built up. He's looking to create a lot of pressure with the flanks and with the split pushing because he can slow down Fake God. And that means that every time Fake God is here...
Guess who doesn't have their ult either? That's a lot of damage. Demonic Ascension! It's a solo kill!
19. And
we go back into the bot lane as Masu again taken away from this lane. Taking a full calling to boot while the turret should fall soon. You gotta give some credit over to FlyQuest. This game was looking doom and gloom. They have Philip, their hero, they can rely on. They've been making as many plays as humanly possible, even if this bot lane is completely awash. The tidal wave trying to clean up the kill, but couldn't actually connect on Masu.
Little late coming out, but that's another teleport getting committed by Philip because he doesn't have anything left to really do up in the top side. It is not safe for him to try and hit the inhibitor turret because of how far it is. Once you take the mid lane turret, you can start thinking about it, but for now, Cloud9 getting themselves the second dragon of the game because of how powerful their spot lane has become.
Honestly, this is where you just completely swap it up. But Philip bot lane.
But you can't 1v2 him. Like, that's the other problem.
I don't know. He might be.
I mean, if you commit
we'll
Yuji
see.
down there.
Yeah, okay. Well, nice use of stopwatch there from Spyrex to dodge away from a lot, even flashing the bubble. That two summoners now, well, that is a one summoner blown with the stopwatch pop. Okay, let's go back to the argument. I still think that Fake God bot lane can 1v2.
Oh, but well, 1v2, like he might be able to farm, but FlyQuest, they need Philip to be able to create.
No, he'll kill them.
There's no shot.
You have no faith.
I don't. I love Philip. Like he's a exciting young prospect, but going up against Lost and Zazel, if Lost and Zazel were like even in the lane, I would say yeah, he can do it. Philip is that strong. But he's going up against a 2-item Lucian with an Imperial Mandate already done on Nami, and look at the damage he's doing to Spyrex.
I didn't say Spyrex can 1v2 them. I said that Philip can.
Good dodges though.
They're really good on Spyrex there. Getting himself out of dodge, and all the while, Philip, he's hunting down Fake God. That is the grand challenge laid out, and he's almost at his inhibitor turret this entire time, too. Fake God cannot escape the wrath of Philip.
Let's go, Philip. That's what we need to see. He knows he needs to continue building up this lead. He needs to completely remove Fake God from the game. Now Tomio,
he does not want to be here. He's trying to get away, but the final chapter getting the root on top of him and getting more kills, not just off of Fake God, is going to be huge for Philip, even if he only gets an assist.
a shutdown for Yuji getting picked up. I mean, the gold isn't that large of a difference, and so much gold is being funneled into this top jungle duo. But it's still so hard for them to actually go for these team fights. They need to start blowing up the map. They need to get the mid lane open so that they can more safely support Philip in these long plays. And this Rift Herald is the perfect way to get that started. But the real question, you have the raid boss of Lost already on 2 items. Will you be able to deal with him, or can you ignore him entirely by splitting up the map? FlyQuest have shown that they do have the lanes. They have the hands to get a lot of these plays going. And they were missing some of the ability to go aggressive and have the playmakers. Philip is doing that. Yuji is doing that. This is FlyQuest in a way that they can actually play it out. This is the FlyQuest we've been looking for so long.
You still have to kill Lost, as you mentioned. It is all about who dies first. Is it Philip or is it Lost? Whichever raid boss falls for the opposing team means victory for the other. As Lost is getting more gold, taking another turret in the top lane, pretty much equating the 2 turrets that were taken by Philip beforehand, but Philip is getting even more assistance with more gold to be funneled into his pocket.
As this turret ends up going down, look how far back Fake God needs to go. I mean, he doesn't even have a ward in the Krugs bush. He doesn't know if Yuji is still sticking around, and he just has to play as though they are. And look how many people from Cloud9 are coming towards the bottom side of the map to make sure he can actually farm.
All 5, just to make sure not only that he can farm, but there's not another Rift Herald with the second charge.
So FlyQuest, this next dragon, I think, is going to be a big make or break point for both teams. How do they choose to play around it? Do FlyQuest think that they can scale into the game with the fact that Masu is very far behind, but will become a threat the later this game actually goes? Or do they just want to try and pick up gold on the sides of the map, allow Philip to scale into the game as well, and actually go for these big split pushes? I like the fact that Yuji and Kitong are both here to actually help out Philip and make sure that he's not under threat of getting shut down.
At this point, it's just funny to see that they've completely abandoned Masu. They're like, Masu,
good luck.
You gotta do your own thing. Look, it's not you, it's me. Go farm up the jungle. It's okay. We're just gonna put every resource into Philip otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you have to do, right? You need to just allow Masu to catch waves back and forth. In Cloud9, they're now coming in force into the bottom lane.
I also like this, that Spyrex has gone for the Rally's first item. I'm curious to see if it's going to be a Leandri's or maybe even Everfrost, just for more assistance to really facilitate Philip carrying.
Yeah, -1's in chat, real quick. But now Jimenez, he probably doesn't realize that Philip has friends.
Jimenez wants to see if he can poke the beast a bit. He's like, I'm fairly decently fed.
Bot lane.
I've got, friends behind me as well. It's fine. Oh,
Yeah.
though he's got more friends.
Yeah, more friends.
Yeah.
Wow, and they're pushing up 3 members coming in behind. There's a teleport.
That's a TV. There are.
I see them all.
They see them all, but they don't see the TP behind from Spyrex, so they think it's going to be just 3 members instead.
Score Masu.
Getting a little bit of damage. Masu is nearby.
Oh, they got him!
They've got the change, and they've got the kill! Yuji's taking up everything. Well, Philip tries to stand this to fight against Tomio in the thick of everything. Well, Spyrex is taking up a lot of damage. Lost is out of there. He was able to cleanse away from the Never Move. They can continue to chase this. They got the slow on to Rylai's. They got Zeyzal low, and they're looking to continue to chase this, but the exhaust, there's no cleanse available. He had flash, though. That is one thing that'll keep him alive and ticking. A lot of distance gained. Growling projectile did not connect that time, so the bot lane of Cloud9 survives. But with the dragon available, FlyQuest can peel back for the objective.
They get the kill onto Menace, but they're going to be losing their mid lane turret. They also grab the dragon. Tomio here looking for a steal.
Hoping that he can get in it. He has a good angle, but Fake God's nowhere to be seen. Instead, they're channeling up the Vault Breaker, dashing back towards the team. Lost around the pit as well, healing up effectively, but it's going to be secure as Yuji's going to be the target. They've got a lot of damage. Philip could not get on top of Lost quickly enough.
Here's a Menace.
He's respawned. He's taking the Hex Gate. The flash is away. They've got to get Philip. The raid boss is the one they want, and look at the damage on top of him. They've lost Spyrex. The flash in, and revenge for Fake God with Cloud9 routing the rest of FlyQuest.
There was a great first fight for FlyQuest, but the second fight coming through on the second time is 100% Cloud9. They get the shutdown on the raid boss. Philip, 500 gold going over to Cloud9, and look at this, they're turning towards the Baron as well. Everybody's coming out of base, and they are so fast with these Hex Gates. Yuji looking for a potential steal to keep his team in the game.
I gotta hope for a miracle again, and this time it doesn't look possible as MNS took a lot of chunk of damage onto Yuji. With every member of C9 Challengers in the vicinity, Yuji, he's pushed out so far away. They don't even have any inkling of how low this might be. They're starting to move up now. It's spotted out by the wards. Looking for the charm to connect. They could dash over the wall. Glacial Prison connects. Do they want to go for this?
Masu!
Masu, what are you doing over there? All right, he's getting a lot of attention. They've stopped the Baron, but now he is in certain danger. He had to sacrifice his own life just to make sure Baron's not taken.
I'm gonna chalk that one up to 150 ping, maybe. There's no way that was intentional, but at the very least, it gets them off the Baron. Hey, free kill. Small victories coming through for FlyQuest. They do not give up the Baron, but still 5,000 gold lead for Cloud9. They shut down Philip. Lost is still completely active, and across the board, we're going to take another look at this. Remember, Fake God has been pushing basically this entire time. He gets the mid lane turret, and because Philip is so low on mana and HP, he's not as effective. He's not able to get on top of Lost and hold him there because they have no ultimates. They have no way to keep Cloud9 there. And MNS just able to come through and clean it up, finding so much more damage. FlyQuest was looking so good in this game. Philip was so strong. But they just take one fight when they aren't prepared. They don't have their feet ready to punch.
Oh, FlyQuest, they're not deterred just yet.
Oh, the bubble!
Still, but it's Lost. Nobody's touching Lost. You gotta do something to him because he gets so much damage on you.
And you feel for Philip, right? This is a spot where he looks at it and he sees so many people that he can hit with a Stride Breaker and he gets them, but there's so much damage getting poured out from Cloud9. He has to try and make things happen. They are down that far on Cloud9. Now they can turn towards the Baron potentially again and dare FlyQuest to walk in with no Swain ult.
There's a TP for Philip. Can always join in, and the mobility the Hex Gates give allows Spyrex to show up pretty quickly back into a potential fight around the objective. As you mentioned, look at the cooldowns. Not having that Demonic Ascension is going to be a big loss for Spyrex, but there is no Spirit Rush out of MNS either.
Yeah, Yuji looking for a potential steal. They have more people here to support them.
100%. Still Philip in the bot lane. Hasn't popped TP just yet, waiting it out. Cloud9 are trying to see if they can get that as Masu. He's found, and he is deleted by Lost.
That's one member gone. Yuji's still looking. He gets the ult.
Oh, but they didn't get Lost with the Glacial Prison. Instead, it's Zeyzal. Lost still untouched. Zeyzal might be the casualty. As Spyrex is taken down again. They cannot kill Lost.
He just continuously gets out, and Cloud9 are baiting FlyQuest into giving up kill after kill after kill. Now you go back to the base, you spend all that gold, and this is what we should be expecting. Cloud9 Challengers, 3 LCS players, Lost and Zeyzal completely taking over the game, showcasing that they still have the experience to come out and take down all these teams. They use the Hex Gates, they're going to take total control, they're probably going to pick up the blue buff from FlyQuest as well before the Dragon.
Take everything on the map that they possibly can. The world is their oyster. They get all the riches. It's up to FlyQuest to see if they can eat the rich.
The tough tale. This is a pretty hooey, potentially overdone Cloud9. Now FlyQuest, I mean, you kind of have to send a Hail Mary. I think AoE here would just see that there's no, or try and clear out the vision on the Baron and try and trade it out. But look at this, fill up on the top side of the map, creating pressure. Fake God still can't match them, but at least he might be able to wave clear underneath the inhibitor turret.
Spotting out Yuji. Charm not connecting, doesn't really need to. Just needs to force away FlyQuest, so they have to group up themselves. Fake God has TP up this time around.
Oh, Philip.
Philip has found Tomio, and he can easily 1v1 him. That's a stride breaker, trying to make sure that there's no escape for Tomio. While on the other side, Spyrex almost killed by Lost as he's rooted, but nobody again is touching him. They gotta kill him. They dive back in, but look at the damage on the Philip. Even with the parry, it's not enough. The great challenge is too late, and they can clean up. They've got 1 kill, but does that matter when everyone else on your team falls? Triple kill for Lost and Cloud9 victorious.
And finally they can turn onto the Baron. Yuji, the only one alive, doesn't have the HP to stick around to try and go for a steal. The way that Cloud9 are prying these fights apart, getting Spyrex to ult and then timing him out, it means that there is no way for FlyQuest to do anything. Cloud9 are going to get the Baron, Cloud9 are going to get the Dragon, and Cloud9 are poised to improve to 7-1.
Okay. No. You don't get away with this, Yuji. Yeah, there you go. I was about to say, there's no, absolutely no way he steals that. Because had that happened, this game would have been
insane.
I don't even know.
Yeah. I have to praise FlyQuest for their willingness to fire back, right? And we have to give Masu a lot of forgiveness because he's just playing on such high ping. But watch how Cloud9 do that, and then they wait for Spyrex's ult to be gone before they turn back into the rest of the fight. Lost is still basically untouched, and they are just willing to dogpile on Philip as soon as he's too far forward.
Because he's trying to kill the one person that he has to try and kill. And
you have to try.
But there's just so, like, even M&S at this point is no longer playing the assassin. We got to look at live, though, because this is a Dragon that is being attempted. They got the root on Tomio with M&S getting the flank and killing Spyrex and Philip. There's no hope without him. Everyone on FlyQuest dies, and it is another squeaky clean ace for Cloud9.
They barely lose any HP at all. Lost untouched, M&S untouched. They are pushing for the end of the game with the Baron buff, but they will get at least 2 inhibitors off this push. Remember, the death timers are still pretty low, but Cloud9, they might feel so strong that they just go for it anyway.
They've got the Baron still, and it's going to be 10 seconds until someone of merit is going to be up. It's only going to be the cat to defend the base. No wave clear. Gyrax, he'll survive. He'll be back up too. You got to wave clear somehow effectively.
We get ult last fight.
Do we? Do we get one last fight?
Spyrex sells ultimate. He just died before he got to use it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, does it really matter, though, when you're... Right. It's not at that point anymore.
I mean, is it props for Cloud9, you know? They killed him before he could even do anything.
Okay, I thought you were talking about FlyQuest having a potential to fight again. I'm like,
no. I mean, Cloud9 are firmly in the driver's seat yet again. The way that they are able to pry this apart, and even Fake God, who is getting dove, still able to come back in, and Jace is almost to the spot where they're on 3 items and they can start being a huge part of the team as well. It doesn't even matter that he got put out of the game. Cloud9 were able to bring this one to control anyway, and as they take it again, this red buff might not even be FlyQuest's.
Well, you've got the 3 items from Fake God. He's overcome the camp that was set up on the top half of the map. No longer is Philip even a raid boss to worry about. It is all Cloud9. It took them a little longer in this game to have full control like they did in the first game. They always had that on the bottom half, and finally they've translated elsewhere, and they are knocking at the door to end this game against FlyQuest.
And the third inhibitor ends up going down. FlyQuest, wow, just lose Masu.
He's too low of range. He can't step up at all. With the charm connecting onto Yuji as well as the layered CC from Tomio, it's an easy kill. With everyone else too low, Keetong being only a cat, dodging back to the base. The turrets will fall, and Cloud9, they will secure a 2-0 victory over FlyQuest, patting the KDAs on the way out to be the #1 team in the LCS Challenger scene.
Only dropping a single game this entire season thus far. Cloud9 Challengers are your early front runners, the early team that we are expecting to do quite well throughout everything. And damn, did they look good. Even with all the attention that was put onto Fake God, still managing to lose in a situation where they had victory opportunities on the other side of the map, and you cannot count these guys out at all. They take an even situation and they just outplay it.
I was like, you can't count them out. They were never out in the first place. This was a good series, a good showing from Cloud9 Challengers, taking the 2-0 victory. We're going to toss it at break, and when we come back, we'll have Mazel here for another interview, this time with Cloud9 Challengers, so make sure you stick around.
Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. I'm Mazel, and I'm joined by the Cloud9 Challengers support, the man with the voice. We got Zazel here, my friend, after a streaming 7-1 start to the season here at NACL. What's the key, man? What has been the key to success so far for the squad?
Well, our mid lane solo killing the opponent 20 times helps, but I'd say, like, in general, we just it feels really easy to play with these 4 other players, obviously 5 including myself, but yeah, it just feels like it worked from the beginning, and we're ramping up still, so I'm hoping we can still get better. You know, we did lose a game, so we still got some work to do, but yeah, it's been feeling good since day one.
I'm glad to hear that. Now, there's been a little bit of a change coming into the season, right? I mean, you were in a coaching position trying to help out as best you can, and now coming back in as a player, right? We first of all, we've missed you. Second of all, I'm very excited to see you. How has it been, using that experience from last year as a player now?
Yeah, so coaching definitely helped me improve. I mean, I was still playing solo queue a lot, so I think I ended the season ranked 10, the highest support on the NA ladder. But yeah, I mean, coaching exposed me. Yeah, of course, I have to take the opportunity, but coaching exposed me to kind of a new aspect of support play that's pretty relevant right now. It's like these lanes are super aggressive. Like the last game we were up like 40 CS at 8 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. And this is something Sven in particular has been really good at. And while coaching him, I actually learned a lot about how to punish the enemy and take as big of advantages as I can. So it definitely opened my eyes a bit in that regard.
Okay. That's some nice learnings there. I like that cohesion with the whole squad too. Now, we have heard from multiple members on the team that you are definitely a guiding voice in terms of shot calling and kind of playmaking as well. So how do you kind of approach shot calling and especially techniques during the later parts of the game, the macro decisions?
So my main idea is just when I approach a game, I just want to keep everyone on the same page. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the time it's not even like I'm making the original idea. I'm just, someone else will give an idea, I'll make sure everyone follows through with it. So it's like maybe M&S suggests that, or like M&S wants to play top and wants to take top tier 1. I'm going to tell us to go 3 through mid, push mid, swap top to mid, and we go for top tier 1, things like that. But my team puts in a lot of effort to make original calls too, and I help to add to that. So I'm more a facilitator than the only one making calls, I would say.
All right. A little bit of that team synergy going down at least. You're working with Lost now. What has been an interesting, learning curve with Lost, or what's been maybe your favorite thing working with Lost?
He's very aggressive, so that was the most interesting because I think throughout his career he hasn't had the chance to be on like a top team, so I don't think a lot of players actually realize how aggressive of a player he is. And I didn't even know. So I guess that was a nice surprise. It's like, he is an absolute maniac in a good way. And I like playing with it a lot, that play style.
That goes in with what you were talking about earlier as well. But the change-up doesn't stop just with your duo, right? You're talking about holistically, the whole roster is different. So How's it been kind of working with all these new additions to the Cloud9 family?
It's been great. I mean, all of my teammates, I guess it's like Fake God came back after taking a bit of a break. It hasn't slowed down at all. He's great in lane. Had a bit of a rough last game, but that was mostly, we'll say the jungle put him at a disadvantage. Their jungler ganked him a couple times, but yeah, Tomio he's newer, so he's learning, but he's very, very good mechanically, and I like playing with junglers like that are just aggressive, mechanical. And M&S, he's got a bit of a reputation for being toxic. I haven't experienced anything at all like that, so he's a great teammate, and he solo kills his lane, always has mid push. I can't complain.
It helps a lot, I'd say, but that's really great to hear.
And then, like I said previously, Lawrence is great to play with too, Lost.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to focus back in a little bit more on you, Zazel. I want to know, what is your motivation this year? What is driving your success?
My goal is definitely to get back into the LCS. So this is kind of like, I guess, the goal is next split I'd be in the LCS. So at minimum here, it's like my goal is to obviously win the split, whatever, playoffs, and then sadly, move on from NACL to hopefully LCS.
Yeah, I'd be here for the come up, man. And I do want to give you a moment to give any shout outs, anybody you want to talk about here before we let you go.
Yeah, thanks to all the Cloud9 fans, my teammates, my managers, everyone who is helping keep our team together, schedule our scrims. Those guys do a lot behind the scenes. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Zazel. I'm sure we'll be talking to you many more times throughout the split. Have a great one.
You too.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and bring back my wonderful casters on the day. I've got Magical and I've got Joshi to round out the day here. We're going to go ahead and bring up and talk about the standings here because, as we've already mentioned, Cloud9 dominant here. 7-1 on the openings of the split, but just behind another would-be hero, would-be champion of NACL, Dignitas at 8-2, being outdone a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited for both these teams. Big Zazel fan, big Insanity fan. They are both playing quite well so far in the early stages of this season. And we'll see. Dignitas have had an extra series to play with. They are going a little bit further, so we will see how well these teams will be able to stack up going towards the rest of it. For the rest of the standings, though, not a ton of surprises. We're still excited to see that Fear is sitting there in third, but other than that, I think the big storyline has been about how well so many of our teams have been able to bounce back and kind of move a little bit closer to the standings we were expecting at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and Magical, any thoughts on any of these particular movements this week as we close out week number 2? I think he's muted.
There we go. I'm muted.
Hey, nice.
I got it unmuted. I was saying, so not in particular. Honestly, I think the biggest thing for me is props over to Team Liquid first. They took a game off of Wildcard, so at least that gets them slightly above. Plus, if we look at the other side of the standings, everything is pretty much as we expected. I'd give a slight edge in the standings to Cloud9 Challengers, seeing as they've only lost one game, and it's to Dignitas. So the fact that the only victory they have is the team that's technically above them only because they played a few more series, but we'll see if that's going to last.
I guess we will have to see, as that is our closing thoughts here on the final games of the week here, week number 2. It's been a pleasure for LCS Challengers for another week, but we have more games on the way. Apparently, we're going to be rating...
We're rating you, Lennon.
Travis Gafford. Yeah, apparently, my brother. No, but it'll be awesome to hear what they've got going on over on Hotline League. Thank you all for tuning in and being a part of this community. It's been awesome to see another week go by. To production for making us look so good. I don't know how you do it, but you find a way. And to everyone behind the scenes, we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you all, and we'll see you next time on Summoner's Rift.